For me, this is the hardest part to play volleyball, but I want to say thank you to Turkey.
Ever wondered how a young girl from the streets of Cuba became one of the most feared volleyball players on the planet? This is about Melissa Vargas, a powerhouse whose journey is anything but ordinary. She found new life in Turkey's professional league and eventually gained Turkish citizenship, setting the stage for one of the most dramatic comebacks in modern volleyball history. Vargas didn't just compete, she dominated. Record-breaking serves, jaw-dropping power, ice-cold composure. She led Turkey to historic victories and was named MVP, cementing her status as a global icon. From political controversy to personal resilience, from exile to European champion. This is all about reinvention, sacrifice, and relentless ambition. I would not only break it all down, but will take you on a trip through the luxury life she lives now in Istanbul. And trust me, you don't want to miss how it all unfolded and where it's going, so sit back, hit like, and subscribe as we get started. Melissa Teresa Vargas Abreu's story begins in the warm, music-filled streets of Cienfuegos, Cuba, where she was born on October 16, 1999. The city, known as La Perla del Sur, has always carried a rhythm of determination, and Melissa grew up in a household where sport was not just a pastime, but a family legacy. Her father, a handball player, filled her early years with an understanding of discipline and athletic ambition, long before she ever stepped onto a formal court. From the time she was 6, Melissa gravitated toward volleyball with a natural ease that surprised everyone around her. She began by playing in the streets, simple games with neighborhood children that would unknowingly lay the foundation for an extraordinary athletic career. At 8, she joined her school's team, and it didn't take long for teachers and coaches to realize this little girl possessed something rare. Her coordination, her intensity, and her instinctive understanding of the game made her impossible to overlook. As she moved into her early adolescence, her progression became even more remarkable. At just 12 years old, Melissa began training with the Cienfuegos team, years ahead of most players who would eventually join professional development pipelines. Her commitment was fierce, and her talent was impossible to contain. Every serve, every spike, every leap felt like a hint of the future she was destined for. By this point, her reputation had already begun to grow beyond her hometown. Her ascent accelerated with stunning speed. At 13, when most young athletes were still learning fundamentals, Melissa stepped onto the court wearing the colors of the Cuban national team. The debut was momentous, not only for her age but for the poise and power she displayed under international lights. Coaches and experts began to talk about her as a once-in-a-generation athlete, someone who played with the maturity and ferocity of stars, far older. By 14, she was no longer just a promising newcomer. She was one of Cuba's brightest hopes. In the U-23 Pan American Cup, facing players nearly 10 years her senior, Melissa's performance was so commanding that she was named Best Opposite, a feat unimaginable for someone barely into her teens. Her rapid evolution left spectators astonished, and within a year, before even turning 15, she participated in her first World Championship. What she displayed there confirmed what many already knew. Melissa Vargas was not simply growing into greatness, she was already touching it. Through these formative years, Melissa's journey was defined not by privilege or predictable progression, but by pure tenacity. She rose from street games in Cienfuegos to the world stage with an intensity that felt almost faded. Every chapter of her youth carried the same theme: precocious promise, relentless work, and a spirit that refused to be constrained by age or circumstance. The foundation laid in those early years would go on to support one of the most electrifying careers modern volleyball has ever seen. Her potential drew international interest, and in 2015, she made her first major professional leap abroad, joining Exile in the Czech Republic. At just 16, she entered a European league known for its competitive rigor. Her season in Prostihov showcased her as a player not merely adapting to international play, but commanding it, helping the team secure domestic honors and proving she could excel under pressure far from home. Yet Melissa's ascent was not without turbulence. A severe shoulder injury cut short her momentum, forcing her to return to Cuba for treatment. She found herself at odds with the Cuban volleyball authorities. The tension resulted in a 4-year ban from the national team, a punishment that placed her career at a crossroads. But Melissa Vargas was never one to surrender to circumstance. In 2017, she reignited her professional path by signing with Volleyball Zurich in Switzerland, a club renowned for developing elite talent. With Volleyball, she rediscovered her power and confidence, re-establishing herself as one of the most dynamic young players in Europe. Her presence on the court became electrifying, a combination of height, agility, and tactical intelligence that made her nearly unstoppable against even the strongest defenses. Her next chapter unfolded in Turkey, where the legendary club Fenerbahçe Opet announced her arrival on June 29, 2018. Her debut season was described as a fairy tale, and it was. She swiftly became one of the team's central pillars, mesmerizing fans with her thunderous serves and fearsome spikes. Her nickname, Vargas Airlines, increasingly felt like a literal description of her gravity-defying play. Her development continued in dynamic cycles. During the earlier halves of several seasons, she competed in China's Powerhouse League before returning to Fenerbahçe in the latter halves. In both environments, she dominated, guiding Tianjin to league victories and helping Fenerbahçe secure titles in Turkey. Her versatility and consistency cemented her status as one of the world's most impactful opposite hitters. Then came 2021, a pivotal year. The Turkish Volleyball Federation's application for her citizenship was approved, and she received her Turkish ID card directly from President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. With this, her professional story entered a new phase, the possibility of representing Turkey, a nation passionate about volleyball and eager to welcome her into its sporting identity. By 2023, after waiting the mandated eligibility period, Melissa finally debuted for the Turkish women's national volleyball team and instantly reshaped its destiny. In just a few months, she delivered performances of staggering consistency and power, helping Turkey win both the FIVB Nations League and the European Championship, earning MVP honors in both tournaments. Analysts, fans, and former legends agreed. She didn't just elevate the team, she transformed it. Her serves shattered expectations and records alike, including a 112 km/h world record serve during the European Championship. Her attacking efficiency made her a nightmare for opponents and a hero to millions in Turkey and beyond. What began as a young girl's dream in Cienfuegos had evolved into a global story of resilience, reinvention, and undeniable greatness. In July 2024, she renewed her contract with Fenerbahçe for 3 more years, solidifying her bond with the club that had become both a home and a stage worthy of her talent. And as her career continues to flourish, Melissa Vargas stands as a symbol of perseverance, a player who has risen through adversity, crossed continents, changed national colors, and captivated the world with her unmatched brilliance. Every spike, every serve, every leap has shaped her identity as a global volleyball sensation. But away from the cameras and roaring crowds, another story unfolds, one written in earnings, endorsements, and the economic gravity of an athlete transformed into a brand. The world often tries to calculate Melissa Vargas's worth, and the figures differ dramatically. Some financial trackers estimate her net worth to be between $100,000 and $1 million as of 2026, grounding their assessments in traditional player earnings and her earlier career trajectory. In a separate corner of the financial world, however, broad analytic models paint a much bolder picture. One influential platform gauges her 2026 net worth at approximately $59.5 million, capturing the magnitude of her international influence, digital reach, and the commercial power she commands as one of volleyball's most recognized icons. Then there are more moderate estimates, focused on her concrete earnings rather than her theoretical brand value. By 2025, some sports and biography sources peg her net worth at around $5 million, attributing her wealth to club contracts, performance bonuses, and a growing bouquet of endorsements. But numbers alone cannot tell the story. To understand Melissa Vargas's financial universe, you have to step onto the court of her career and feel the impact she delivers with every match. Her earnings begin with her professional contracts, spanning leagues in Cuba, the Czech Republic, Switzerland, China, and most famously, Turkey. As a key player for Fenerbahçe Opet and the Turkish national team, her reported salary ranges widely depending on the source, with some estimates noting that volleyball professionals in her bracket can earn up to $38,562 per year, alongside appearance fees and competition bonuses. But for Melissa, the real financial momentum comes from the world beyond the net. This is where endorsements enter the frame. Brands have taken notice of her meteoric rise, her record-shattering serves, her global fan base, the signature charisma in every victory shout. Sources list a series of commercial partnerships, including her work with major companies like Nike, helping elevate her influence and diversify her income portfolio. These sponsorships, collaborations, and ambassador roles form a substantial portion of her earnings and long-term financial security. Her online presence further amplifies her economic halo. With massive engagement across Instagram, YouTube, and other platforms, analysts project significant earning potential from sponsored posts and media partnerships, a digital revenue stream that grows each year as her audience expands. Some models even use her social metrics to justify those higher multi-million net worth estimates. And while not all details of her private investments are publicly known, the pattern is clear. Melissa Vargas has built her wealth the same way she built her career, strategically, fiercely, and with an unwavering upward trajectory. Her net worth may vary depending on who does the counting, whether it's the conservative analyst, the market-driven evaluator, or the branding expert. But one truth stands beyond dispute. Melissa Vargas is not just earning wealth. She is creating value, redefining the economics of her sport, and proving that greatness reverberates far beyond the court. With fame like hers, the world naturally wonders, where does Melissa Vargas rest, recharge, and dream? But here lies the twist. Unlike many stars whose mansions become tabloid fodder, there are no publicly documented mansions linked to Melissa Vargas. No leaked floor plans, no social media home tours, no real estate listings attached to her name. The silence is deliberate and profound. We could say Melissa Vargas has kept her residences entirely out of the public eye. While others showcase sprawling estates, Vargas chooses silence. Even as her net worth, endorsements, and international contracts suggest she could live among the elite. Her privacy becomes a kind of fortress, more impenetrable than any mansion gate. In an age where stars livestream their living rooms and treat their homes like curated museum spaces, Melissa takes a different path. Her life off the court remains a protected territory, unmapped, unseen, intentionally guarded. Perhaps she lives modestly. Perhaps she lives magnificently. Perhaps she prefers the comfort of anonymity in a bustling city where no one looks twice. But whatever the truth, it is hers, and hers alone. And for cars, we know of just her Peugeot 5008 SUV. For an athlete whose life has been defined by velocity, elevation, and precision, even the simple act of driving becomes symbolic. And the Peugeot 5008 isn't just a vehicle. It is the first chapter in Melissa Vargas's journey of freedom on the road. The Peugeot 5008 is a practical yet modern choice. Sleek enough to turn heads, spacious enough for the life of a world-class athlete. And while Melissa's privacy keeps her world grounded, the numbers speak for themselves. A new Peugeot 5008 typically ranges between $35,000 and $45,000, depending on features, trim, and specifications. A price tag that reflects not extravagance, but purpose. Her story on the road doesn't begin with a garage filled with hypercars. It begins with one SUV, chosen with care, earned through discipline, and celebrated with genuine joy. Let's have a glimpse of her personal life. Melissa's openness about her identity has made her a quiet but powerful symbol. She is openly gay, and her relationship with Turkish volleyball stars Zara Güneş, shared through warm, affectionate posts and videos, has been celebrated by fans as a bond built on mutual respect, admiration, and tenderness. Their connection, often described as the bond that goes beyond volleyball, added a new dimension to Melissa's public image. Not just a champion, but a woman who loves boldly and authentically. Despite her fame, Melissa's personal life remains grounded. She carries with her the humility of her Cuban upbringing, where opportunities were scarce and dreams were carved out of grit. Friends and teammates often describe her as focused, disciplined, and quietly warm-hearted. Off the court, she is not the fierce powerhouse who sends volleyballs flying like meteors. She is gentle, introspective, and deeply loyal to those who stand with her. The story of her personal life is also a story of transformation. The girl from Cienfuegos became a young woman navigating cultural shifts, political restrictions, and the complex emotional terrain of forging a new national identity. In Turkey, she found not only a professional home, but a personal sanctuary, one where she could live openly, love freely, and grow fully into herself. And yet, she carries Cuba with her always. Her early memories, her family, and the fire that first ignited her passion live within her like an unbroken thread, linking past to present, grounding her even as she soars higher. Melissa Vargas is not just the unstoppable force on the court, but the human being behind the legend. Melissa's story isn't only about volleyball. It's about courage in the quiet corners of life. She embraced the truth of who she is, openly and proudly, emerging as one of the few openly gay athletes in her sport. Her bond with her partner, Zara Güneş, has inspired many, reminding the world that strength isn't just physical. It's emotional, human, and honest. She carries Cuba in her heart, Turkey on her shoulders, and the world at her feet. And through it all, she remains grounded. The girl who once played under Caribbean sunlight. Still shining through, the woman celebrated beneath arena lights. Her journey is one of transformation, from street courts to stadiums, from national conflict to global triumph, from quiet beginnings to becoming one of volleyball's greatest forces. And it's far from over. So as we come to the end of this video, remember this: you don't need a perfect beginning to write an extraordinary destiny. That borders cannot confine greatness. That identity is something to embrace, not fear. And that when life tries to silence you, you rise higher, jump farther, and hit back harder than ever. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Drop your comments below as well. Stay inspired, stay fearless, and like Melissa, always keep rising. Hope to see you in the next video. Bye.